The Da Vinci Code. Tiankong Tran, Ph.D. This article is day 39 in Entering Eden in 40 Days. Celibacy relates to the relation between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. There is a legend that Mary Magdalene was the wife or at least the lover of Jesus. Recently Dan Brown wrote a novel that has become a bestseller, The Da Vinci Code. The book aims to show that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' wife and they had a daughter named Sarah. What Dan Brown aims to show corresponds to a story in history. It also corresponds to many persons' thinking. According to Dan Brown, the famous painter Da Vinci himself had that knowledge. Dan Brown sees the code in Da Vinci. Da Vinci presented his knowledge in the painting The Last Supper. In this painting the person who is supposed to be John is actually Mary Magdalene. The Gospels talk about Mary Magdalene. She appeared at some important times, for example when Jesus died on the cross, and particularly when Jesus had risen and appeared to her. The Gnostic Gospels include the Gospel of Mary, Magdalene, and the Gospel of Philip. The Gospel of Mary proves a particular relation between Jesus and Mary Magdalene because it contains many words that Jesus said to her and not to other disciples. The Gospel of Philip relates that many times Jesus kissed her. Jesus loved her more than other disciples and calls her his companion. However, the Gospels, including the Gnostic Gospels, do not say that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were husband and wife. This might lead to the conclusion that Jesus and Magdalene were not husband and wife, because if they were husband and wife, the authors ought to have known it and written about it in their books. However, we might ponder that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were husband and wife and this was common and the authors of the Gospels did not need to relate it. Anyway, it is more reasonable that if they had known it, they would have related it. But there is another argument that the Gospels were written many years after Jesus' death and in the direction of the Church, and therefore there were cuts of the facts that the Church saw unnecessary, not good, and not suitable to its teachings. The Church preaches that Jesus was the only Son of God in heaven and he came down to save mankind. That God got married is unacceptable and we cannot worship such God. Therefore the Da Vinci Code is a complete denial of the teaching of the Church. Moreover, as we just said, there is a current legend of the marriage between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And today, under the influence of the material civilization, this legend seems reasonable and attractive. And if it seems reasonable and attractive, it is a heavy blow to the Catechism of the Church. Depending on historical events, we are not able to have a definite conclusion about whether Jesus and Mary Magdalene were husband and wife or not, even though we may be inclined to the no position. So is there another criterion by which we can have a clear conclusion about the problem? According to my opinion, we have to depend on Jesus' teachings. Jesus said, "For some are eunuchs because they were born that way, others were made that way by men, and others have renounced marriage because of the kingdom of heaven." Paul wrote, "Now concerning virgins, I have no command of the Lord, but I give my opinion as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy." I think that, in view of the impending crisis, it is well for you to remain as you are. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be free. Are you free from a wife? Do not seek a wife. But if you marry, you do not sin, and if a virgin marries, she does not sin. Yet those who marry will experience distress in this life, and I would spare you that. What does the statement "others have renounced marriage because of the kingdom of heaven" mean? Jesus and Paul see that married life has its own grievances and sufferings. According to Jesus, life in the kingdom of heaven, right here and now, is truly delightful. Today Catholic monks, as well as Buddhist monks, are regulated to be virgins. Being a virgin is not a sacrifice, but a choice of the kingdom of heaven, or nirvana, because only life in the kingdom of heaven is truly delightful. So why are there monks who like the forbidden thing or return to this world? Because they have become monks and have not understood the meaning of becoming a monk, they have not been enlightened. Marriage is a profane thing. And in this world sex is considered one of the highest joys, if not the highest one. For those who see only the profane shore, the fact that Jesus and his intimate disciple Mary Magdalene had no sexual intention is not only unbelievable but also unrealistic. Therefore they came to the conclusion that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were husband and wife, or at least lovers. But Jesus saw that besides the shore of this world there is the kingdom of heaven. The shore of the kingdom of heaven is high and the shore of this world is low. Living in the kingdom of heaven is more delightful than living in this world, including a married life in this world. That is the reason why Jesus said that others have renounced marriage because of the kingdom of heaven. It is not easy to see the kingdom of heaven. That is the reason why Jesus said, "Let anyone accept this who can." When a person says that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were husband and wife, he has not yet seen the two shores. Not seeing the two shores is still living in ignorance, in darkness, not yet coming to the shore of enlightenment, not yet knowing light. Dan Brown is a person who is living in the shore of ignorance and in darkness. If Da Vinci had the same idea as Dan Brown, he was also in the shore of ignorance and in darkness. We can borrow the words by which Jesus said to Peter to criticize them, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." Jesus has come to the other shore, he has surpassed the question of husband and wife. On this shore a woman can have 7 husbands, but when people have come to the other shore, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, they are like angels in heaven. We know the story of the Buddha. When he was enlightened, he did not return to his family and his palace. It is a big mistake taking a profane view to interpret the life of a sage. This mistake is a big danger when it influences many lives. Building culture with mistake can kill many generations.